What's up, guys? Welcome to the BJack 70 show, and I am your host, Brandon Jackson. Um, if you're here watching, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to my gaming channel, BJack 70 Gaming, and let's just get into it. I only have one real topic that I want to talk about. I know today most of the teams, all of the teams, in fact, started NFL training camp. Um, and we could speculate, get into what happened with the Cleveland Browns quarterbacks and who took what reps. And Joe Flacco took no 11 on 11 reps, and Kenny Pickett might be the starter. And it's too early for that. It's really day one. Day one. No pads have been put on. No pads have collided yet. Um, so it's really not time. It's really not time for that kind of speculation yet. Um, but I do want to talk about something Browns related. And to give you the full context of it, I'm going to have to show you a video of Colin Cowherd. So I'm going to send you over to that. I'm going to let you watch this whole video and then we're going to talk about it. All right.
It is not. In fact, this is the worst kept secret in the South. Haslam, Jimmy, owner of the Browns, huge SEC Tennessee booster, leans heavily on the Manning family. Very close to the Manning family. Yes, that's not make-believe. Arch Manning is part of the Manning family, and this is where Nick Saban comes in. Saban is incredibly close to not only Jimmy Haslam, but Saban's close to the Manning family as well. And so Saban, if he could land, I'm told, a top quarterback like Harbaugh going to the Chargers for Herbert, he would take a phone call for the NFL. And there are two teams guaranteed to be awful this year in the NFL: Cleveland and the Saints. Nick Saban has coached in Cleveland with the Browns under the Belichick staff, and he coached at LSU. This is not a conspiracy theory. Haslam's circle of trust, according to an article in The Athletic last year, is the Manning family and Jimmy Sexton and Bill Parcells. Sexton is Nick Saban's agent. So the Mannings are royalty in New Orleans. The Children's Hospital in New Orleans is called the Mannings Children's Hospital. And the Mannings are royalty to Jimmy Haslam. Jimmy Haslam also loves headlines. It's why he pushed to draft Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield. They were the most talked about quarterbacks. It's why he signed a ridiculous guaranteed contract for Deshaun Watson. It would get discussed. So this is not a conspiracy theory, okay? The circle of trust for Jimmy Haslam is the Manning family and Jimmy Sexton. Saban's, Manning, Haslam, South. That's why I've said. And there's two teams in this league that are going to be bad. The Saints are going to be bad, and the Browns are going to be bad. Now, that doesn't mean Saban, if he doesn't take the job, it's all lost for Cleveland. Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry, the GM, more than capable. But this story is a poorly kept secret. The Mannings, Haslam, Jimmy Sexton, Nick Saban. That's why I ran with that thing last week. Lane Kiffin talked about it. Greg McElroy. Saban's not going to college. He would take a call in the end.
So what are you guys thinking? When you hear Colin Cowherd say that, what comes to mind? The first thing that immediately comes to mind for me personally, is that with Jimmy Haslam, anything is possible. And I mean that in the most positive and the most negative ways imaginable. Anything is possible. Now, let's review what Cowherd was talking about. Let's go section by section. So the first thing he said, Jimmy Haslam is close to the Manning family. And if you know anything really about Jimmy Haslam at all, like I'm sure most Cleveland Browns fans do know, Jimmy Haslam is a Tennessee guy. Peyton Manning went to Tennessee. There's the connection. There's the connection. They're both at this point boosters of the University of Tennessee football team. Um, Jimmy Haslam, I think, like still lives in Tennessee. Um, Jimmy Haslam went to the University of Tennessee, so there's your connection right there. It really doesn't need to get more complicated than that because that's it right there. So through Peyton Manning to everybody else, Big Archie, Eli, Peyton, and now we're talking about young Arch Manning, quarterback of Texas, starting quarterback of Texas this year, first year starter. But so um, the next part, the the Nick Saban part, Jimmy Haslam is connected to Nick Saban through Jimmy Sexton. And again, if you know anything about the world of college football, you know Jimmy Sexton's name. Jimmy Sexton is a super agent. He's basically, and I mean, like, it might, if I say this, it might be disrespectful, honestly, to Jimmy Sexton if I call him like the Rich Paul of big name head coaches in college football. Um, Probably because Jimmy Sexton probably been doing it longer, and um, but yeah, he'd probably be mad if he heard me saying that. But it like that's how it goes in my mind because like Rich Paul is the biggest agent I know of my generation, um, at least that I care about. But that's a different story. Um, but yeah, Jimmy Sexton is the agent to all kinds of big name head coaches. If you know a big name head coach in college football, Jimmy Sexton is probably the agent. Um, so that's not surprising that Jimmy Haslam might know Jimmy Sexton, and then if you know like if you're close enough to Jimmy Sexton, you know a bunch of these college coaches. So like, not not surprised about that in the least. Um, I want to skip to the Saban coming to the NFL part of the story. Um, out of everything that was said, by Colin Cowherd, I think Nick Saban coming to the NFL is probably the least likely of all these components to happen. Um, Now I can tell you that what Colin said about Jimmy Sexton saying like Jimmy Sexton did say, well, I- I've I've heard that Jimmy Sexton did say that this could be a possibility. Um Now, if like will it happen? I'm not sure, but I think it is a real possibility that Nick Saban could take an NFL job, but I think it's more of a way to give Nick Saban more leverage in contract talks TV TV networks. Um but I do agree, if he was to coach again, it would be in the NFL. Nick Saban is done with college football as it stands right now. I feel like I could see him saying, if college is going like if college is going to be us paying players and free agency, I might as well go do it at the professional level. And and college football is worse because there's no real contracts. Your team could your team could be 50 guys could leave at the end of the year. That's not really going to happen in the NFL. There's contracts, like people, like a certain number of people will be sticking around every year no matter what. just because of the contract situation. So I could see Nick Saban saying, I did my time. I'm the greatest college coach of all time. If I want to get back into football, I'll do it in the NFL. I can definitely see that. But I don't feel like it's likely. I feel like it's just like a leverage play. Okay. So going going back to the to how Jimmy Haslam feels about Arch Manning. I I 100% believe that. I 100% believe that to be true because he is not the first or the only executive or anybody like first executive scout media person fan to be enthralled with the idea of Arch Manning. Arch Manning has been basically deemed as the chosen one ever since we first heard about who he is um going into high school. If you're really deep into college football and you really follow recruiting and you follow like all the behind the scenes kind of stuff, you've been knowing, thinking, reacting, watching Arch Manning for at least 5 years now. This will be year three for him in college. Um and you've at least, if you're paying attention to these sort of things, since he's been a sophomore in high school. Um, so Jimmy Haslam wouldn't be the only one that is really obsessed with the idea of Arch Manning because I see it every day on Twitter. I see it every day on Reddit. People talking about, well, 2026, Arch Manning is QB1, Arch Manning is QB1. Um, all of these like college football top 10 lists that are coming out during the summer, like right before training camp starts. There, who's the best quarterback in football? Top 10. Arch Manning is second, third, fourth. He's only started 2 games, played in played significantly in 3 games. But people love the idea of Arch Manning, and I'm not going to say that I don't either. I really enjoy him as a prospect. From what I've seen, he has a lot of talent, a lot of the tools. We just need to see him like put it all together, like as the guy at Texas. But I don't like I think he'll be successful. I don't have any reason to doubt that he'll be a successful college quarterback. I really don't. Um, and that's not really an issue for me. Like I'm on board. I'm on board the Arch Manning hype train, if you will. But I just want to point out, like, if Jimmy Haslam is on it, like, that's not a crazy thing because damn near everybody else is on that hype train with me, with Jimmy Haslam, with a lot of people that follow college football. Um, so yeah, I believe that 100%. Um, the thing, the thing is, when it comes to Arch, it's again, if you're following the behind the scenes, it kind of feels like that the Manning family that Cowherd talks about has pretty much stated Arch is going to be in college as long as possible. Really, um, he's eligible for the draft after this year. But the sentiment has been, as everyone has like kind of understood, that they want Arch to be a starter for 2 years in college. Um, and when he went to Texas. He knew Quinn Ewers was there. Um, sat was the third string quarterback as a freshman, and maybe they thought Quinn would be good enough to uh, Quinn would be good enough to leave um, after his junior year, and Arch could take over as a redshirt freshman. Maybe they thought that, but that wasn't the case. Quinn stayed for his senior year and he was a starter. Arch got in sparingly, started a couple games, played during the playoff run. Like he got time. He has been on the field, and that's good. But this upcoming year is his first year as a starter, and if what people have been led to believe, if that is true, he'll be the quarterback for 2025 and the quarterback at Texas in 2026. And then we could start thinking about him declaring for the 2027 draft. Um, so this reporting, I'm kind of looking at it like I don't know because if the plan all along was for Arch to start for 2 years, then we're talking about this a year early. But then I'm also thinking if maybe that was maybe 2 years as a starter was the plan, but if they're looking at it now, like Colin said, the Browns are going to be bad. If they get the chance, like if the Browns are bad enough, say they get the number one overall pick, two overall pick, or whatever, if they're close, like if they're in the range to draft a quarterback like Arch Manning, I wonder if the Mannings sit back and think, okay, is it worth it to deviate from the plan of Arch starting for 2 years in college because we it looks like there's an owner of a team that will take him very high in the draft, and we kind of have influence and sway with that ownership. I wonder if the potential sway with ownership overrules the the original plan. Like I wonder, I wonder if that changes things. And like Colin said, it's not just the Browns. It's also the Saints, and the Saints have ties to the Mannings, obviously because um, Peyton and Eli's dad, Archie, played for the Saints, and they're from New Orleans. They're from Louisiana. They all went to high school in New Orleans. Um, so that's the Saints connection. Um, but I think that influence and sway potentially over ownership could override another year in college just to get the experience. Um, and I think that's interesting. I think that's interesting. Um, and then I I get my conspiracy brain going because I think like all everything I talked about up front before now, I think is true. Like everything that I stated about the hat, like Jimmy Haslam loving Arch, Nick Saban possibly thinking about coming to the NFL, um, the Mannings potentially deviating from the plan. Like I think that stuff has the possibility of being true, and I think like some of it is more likely than the other stuff, but I think it's all within the realm of possibility. So now I'm getting into speculation mode. Is is this stuff? Is this Arch Manning stuff wanting to draft him in 2026? Is and wanting to draft Arch in 2026 and potentially getting Nick Saban in 2026? Is this the reason that Stefanski still has a job right now? Because if you know you want to get a coach in 2026, why fire your coach before 2025 to hire a guy? And if you like anybody you hire, you're going to have to sign him to a 4 or 5 year deal. Why hire another guy just to fire him, pay him to not coach your team for 4 more years just so you can get Nick Saban? That doesn't make any sense if you know that's what you want to do, if you know that's what you're going to do. So I'm wondering, is this why Stefanski still has a job? Because on top of that speculation, even more speculation, you think about what the Browns did in this offseason. They didn't really for real try to acquire a quarterback. Like, yes, they signed Joe Flacco in free agency. Yes, they signed or traded for Kenny Pickett. And yes, they drafted Dylan Gabriel. Yes, they drafted Shador Sanders. They did all those things, but really, when you think about it, they didn't really try to acquire a quarterback. Like they had first round capital. Excuse me. They had first round capital. They had a chance. Like if they wanted Jackson Dart, they could have got Jackson Dart. Um, there's moves that could have been made. So does them not making any of those moves, does that speak to this? It might. It might. Like I started the video off by saying, with Jimmy Haslam, anything is possible. Literally anything is possible. So also, like I said, they didn't really try to get quarterback. They spent a third and a fifth, and then traded a fifth and signed a 40-year-old. Like that's let's be for real. That's not really doing it if you want to win in the NFL. Like maybe accidentally you might find a starting quarterback that way. Maybe who knows? Maybe Dylan Gabriel is that guy. They seem to love what he can do on the whiteboard and how he processes and how he knows the game. They seem to love that. Maybe they got lucky and they found their guy. Or maybe Shador is that guy. Maybe Shador is the guy that I think he has always been, and maybe he really is. And maybe they just got lucky. The odds are both of those things aren't true. Joe Flacco, Joe Flacco is whatever age he is, and he's not the future. And Kenny Pickett, for goddamn sure, is not the future. So statistically, the guy that's supposed to be the franchise quarterback is not in the quarterback room. He's just not. And that's me being real. Like, I'm the biggest Shador Sanders fan on YouTube besides maybe Deion Sanders Jr. Shout out Well Off Media. But just being real, statistically, our franchise quarterback is not on the team yet. So maybe Jimmy Haslam is cooking something in the background. It's a long season. The season hasn't even started yet, and we're already talking about the 2026 draft. Um, that's kind of disheartening, but it is what it is. It's the life of a Cleveland Browns fan. But yeah, so let me know in the comments what you think about this. What do you think about Jimmy Haslam? What do you think about Arch Manning? Do you want Arch Manning? Do you think Nick Saban should come out of retirement to coach in the NFL? Do you think he should coach the Browns? Do you think he should coach the Saints? Do you think he should coach the Cowboys? Like a lot of people were speculating earlier in the year. Um, yeah, just let me know in the comments what you guys think about it. Um, but yeah, thanks for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Like I said at the beginning, head over to my gaming channel, BJack70 Gaming. We got the Road to Glory going over there. The Road to Glory is I'm dropping episodes every day. Every day an episode is getting dropped. Um, I'm very consistent over there. More content is coming over there. Um, and one more update for this channel: the definitive quarterback ranking is the the ranking is set. The ranking is set. Um, I'm probably gonna piss a lot of people off with my list. Um, the recording of the videos will start very soon, and also in tandem with the videos, head over to bjack70.com. The written version of the list will also drop concurrently with the video. Um, so yeah, if you want to listen to it, you want to watch it, you'll get it on YouTube. If you want to read it, post it, repost it, bjack70.com. It'll be over there, the written version. Um, I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be pissed off about it. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. Appreciate you watching, appreciate your support, and yeah, until the next one, we'll see you.